every now and then the mainstream media does a fantastic job, and it's usually 60 Minutes that does the job. And 60 Minutes did a piece where they interviewed the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration, some of our agents. They did a fantastic investigative piece about a ton of cocaine that was caught coming into the United States by U.S. Customs, and the cocaine was in the hands of Central Intelligence assets of the Venezuelan National Guard. Of course, the moment they were arrested, they said, "We're working for CIA." No one could believe it. But the fact is, as it turned out, they were working for CIA, and they were smuggling cocaine into the U.S. with the protection of Central Intelligence. Now, let's hear the beginning of that show, and you're about to hear Mike Wallace, Morley Safer, and most importantly, you're about to hear probably the most credible witness as to CIA drug smuggling in history, and that's going to be the voice of Federal Judge Bonner, who was the head of DEA. He's now, I believe, the head of U.S. Customs.
A ton of cocaine, pure cocaine, worth hundreds of millions, is smuggled into the United States. Sound familiar? Not the way this ton of cocaine got here. According to what the former head of the Drug Enforcement Administration told Mike Wallace, this drug shipment got here courtesy of what he calls drug trafficking by the CIA in partnership with the Venezuelan National Guard. While rumors of CIA involvement in drug trafficking have circulated for years, no one in the U.S. government has ever before publicly charged the CIA with this kind of wrongdoing. And it's not the kind of accusation anyone in government would make without thinking long and hard.
Let me understand what you're saying. A ton of cocaine was smuggled into the United States of America by the Venezuelan National Guard?
Well,
in cooperation with the CIA?
That's exactly what appears to have happened.
Until last month, Judge Robert Bonner was the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA. And Judge Bonner explained to us that only the head of the DEA is authorized to approve the transportation of any illegal narcotics like cocaine into this country, even if the CIA is bringing it in.
Let me put it this way, Mike. If this has not been approved by DEA or an appropriate law enforcement authority in the United States, then it's illegal. It's called drug trafficking. It's called drug smuggling.
So what you're saying, in effect, is the CIA broke the law. Simple as that.
I don't think there's any other way you can rationalize around it, assuming, as I think we can, that there was some knowledge on the part of CIA, at least some participation in approving or condoning this to be done.
Judge Bonner says he came to that conclusion after a 2-year secret investigation conducted by the DEA's Office of Professional Responsibility in cooperation with the CIA's own Inspector General. And what reason did the CIA have for promoting this drug smuggling?
Well, there you have. Well, let's start off just with that part alone, Dennis. What are your thoughts? You had a federal judge saying that a secret investigation showed that they're drug smugglers, and we're talking about a ton of cocaine. And by the end of this show, listeners are going to understand that it was probably more like 20 tons of cocaine that Central Intelligence has gotten away with. Against the wishes of DEA. And again, I want to remind the people, our listeners, that we're talking about why DEA has been left out of Homeland Security to this point. So what do you think when you hear that? Dennis Dale, 27-year veteran of DEA.
Well, when I hear that, it just resounds over the same music and lyrics that I have seen and you've seen over the years.
That's true. Dennis, you know, people are familiar. I mean, if you're not familiar with me, new listeners, I urge you to get the one of my books that's in print, that's about specifically this topic, is Deep Cover. You can get it on the Internet. One that's out of print. By the way, that we're now talking about possibly making a television series out of the second one, even though it's out of print, and that's called The Big White Lie. So I urge you listeners to go and find it. I don't get any money for it. It's, like I said, it's out of print, The Big White Lie. But Dennis, what experience did you have directly? You've worked in the Middle East. You've worked all over the world alongside of Central Intelligence. What was your experience?
My experience was that in many major cases, the target, the so-called Mr. Big of the operation that engulfed itself in the investigation that I'm speaking of, or the type of investigations, at the end of that line, most probably and in many times actually was the CIA.
You're listening to Dennis Dale, 27-year veteran of the Drug Enforcement Administration, veritable legend in intelligence gathering.